when we win a triumphant victory in 2022 and when a Republican president takes back the White House in 2024, which I strongly believe will happen.
All right, that was former President Donald Trump, of course, speaking yesterday at the America First Policy Summit in Washington. Here to talk about this, somebody who knows all things Donald Trump, the host of Dick Morris Democracy, former advisor of Presidents Clinton and Trump, and author of the new book, The Return, Trump's Big 2024 Comeback. Dick Morris back with us. Dick, good morning. Good to see you, my friend. How's everything?
Good to be here.
Dick, Donald Trump yesterday said a Republican president. A lot of people are making a big deal out of that. What'd you make of that? He didn't say me. He didn't say Donald Trump. He didn't name anyone specific. He just said a Republican president.
It's between him and his accountant. The accountant says he can't say you're running because then the expenses of all these rallies comes right out of your campaign budget. And he's not about to do that, but he's running. He and I spoke 2 days ago, and he's clearly running. The interesting thing that's going on is this is one of the themes of my book. The Democratic Party has designed a strategy to defeat him by trying to force him to go through a primary fight. And they're flattering DeSantis and Haley and Pence and everybody else to try to lure them in to run against him. The fact is that Trump is leading by double digits in every one of the 4 first primary states: New Hampshire, Iowa, Nevada, and South Carolina. And nationally, he's ahead by 40 points.
Yeah.
So he's going to be the Republican nominee. The question is, are you going to hurt him by splitting the party?
Yeah. Well, there's a long time between now and November 2024, of course.
I was shocked yesterday when Trump gave this wonderful speech laying out his program beautifully. Not much about 2020, all about the future.
Right.
And it took 2 hours. And Fox News did not cover it. They covered Mike Pence's speech to the same group, but Fox did not cover it. Newsmax did. And this blackout by Fox News and by the arms of the Democratic Party of Donald Trump is reaching horrific proportions. Let's understand it. You're either going to get Hillary Clinton or some other Democrat,
right,
or you're going to get Donald Trump. And if you screw around with the primary, like they did when Ted Kennedy ran against Carter in
destroyed the party. We had 12 years of Republicans after that.
And Reagan became the president. You're going to do the same thing this year. So unite behind Donald Trump. He's the obvious candidate.
Okay.
His record is compelling. And that's the point I make in my book, The Return, and read it
Dick,
to find out how we're going to do it.
I enjoyed the book, Dick. So your point is well taken about sort of the prerogative over at Fox News. Of course, I don't work there. I can just tell you what I've heard and what I'm seeing. But it sounds like maybe it's Rupert Murdoch himself, who's in his 90s now. Maybe it's his kids. But they have said, stay away from Donald Trump, which was not the message in 2015 and 2016 when he was initially running for president. They got behind Trump. That probably helped him win. I should say, we also covered Mike Pence yesterday, but in the afternoon, we covered Donald Trump as well. Dick, 10 seconds. When would Trump announce?
Right after the midterms. No point in doing it before. Okay. And by the way, it's not Rupert, it's Lachlan, his son.
His son.
Liberal.
Yeah.
And he's moving the station far to the left. And the problem is you don't see about the other point of view. They didn't run the Trump speech and dump on it.
Yeah. Dick, we got to leave it there. We're so out of time.
Speech Trump gave all year.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely. And his first time back in D.C. in 18 months, which was fascinating. Dick Morris, great to see you. The book is called The Return. Pick it up wherever books are sold. We'll be right back. You're watching Wake Up America right here on Newsmax.
Hey guys, it's Rob Carson. I want to tell you about the Patriot Gold Group. But first, let me tell you that the S&P has already lost $8.2 trillion in 2022. Did you know that? Peak inflation is not even hit despite the Fed rate hikes on groceries, on gas. You know it as well as I do. Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs are warning of another 20% drop. Inflation is winning in a knockout right now. The Fed is going to raise rates again at the end of July. Meanwhile, Goldman, Wells Fargo, and Bloomberg are all forecasting gold to surpass all-time highs. If you want to invest in gold, call 888-936-2373 now. Call the Patriot Gold Group today and ask about their no-fee-for-life IRA. Sounds like a good deal, don't it? Here's the number, 888-936-2373. 888-936-2373 for the Patriot Gold Group.